Thank you for joining us on Business Now. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. Now the news in detail. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has revealed that non-oil export receipts stand at about $2.5 billion so far. This was even as the Apex Bank urged deposit money banks, DMBs, to maintain their banking ratios and take suitable measures to mitigate any potential risks. The Governor CBN, Godwin Emefiele, disclosed this in Lagos. Stating the bank's outlook and policy thrust for 2023, Emefiele said the CBN is of the view that the short-term outlook of the Nigerian economy remains good, while adding that in the coming years, its monetary policy will remain focused on the objectives of price, monetary and exchange rate stability. He noted that based on the expectation of robust non-oil performance and barring any unforeseen shocks, GDP growth rate is projected to remain positive in the remaining quarter of 2022 and during 2023. According to him, Nigeria's balance of payments is expected to remain positive in the short term. The CBN governor commended the banking sector's resilience despite the global headwinds. Still on the Central Bank of Nigeria, it has ordered deposit money banks and other financial institutions to ensure that weekly over-the-counter cash withdrawals by individuals and corporate entities do not exceed 100,000 naira and 500,000 naira respectively. The Apex Bank made this known on Tuesday in a circular signed by CBN Director of Banking Supervision, Haruna Mustafa. The Apex Bank said the regulatory directives take effect nationwide from January 9, 2023. The CBN further fixed daily maximum withdrawals via point of sale, that's POS terminal, at 20,000 naira. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele had on October 26, 2022, announced the redesigning of the 3 bank notes, saying the new and existing currencies will remain legal tender and circulate together until January 31, 2023. The Apex Bank believes that the redesigned notes will limit cash in circulation and therefore restrict the heinous activities of ransom-demanding kidnappers as well as politicians who want to rig elections. The Central Bank of Nigeria has imposed fresh cash withdrawal limits on individuals and organizations, which will become effective on January 9, 2023. According to a memo issued by the CBN to banks on Tuesday, individuals will only be able to withdraw 100,000 naira per week from over-the-counter point-of-sale machines or automated teller machines, while organizations can access 500,000 naira per week. Withdrawals above the stipulated limits shall attract processing fees of 5% and 10% respectively. Speaking on the development earlier in the day, analyst Sumbo Badijuku identified grey areas in the policy, while also highlighting its impact on the informal sector of the economy.
It's a very good thing, and it's going to help the cashless policy of the CBN. But the thing is, when you look at the timing, I'm not really comfortable with the timing. Not timing in respect of the beginning of the year that they expect it to take off, but because it's coming in between the exchange of the old notes with the new redesigned notes. I expect a situation where they would allow that the new note to become fully circulated before this one is coming up, because there's going to be a kind of conflict in the process. That is what I foresee. Native businessmen that do not believe in online transaction because of fraud and what have you. So this category of people now will require more time for them to go through the training of how to go about secure online transaction. Now that time frame between now and January 9th is just 4 weeks or thereabouts. It will not be enough, because even if a policy that come up by information that came into circulation yesterday. Now, before everyone will get into the know of what the whole thing entails, we will have already gotten to January 9th. And by the time people now begin to adjust, this kind of people, I'm talking about merchant farmers in the villages, some other traders that are in our major markets that don't really, they like depositing cash. People like in the, there's a textile market in Ibadan here, where those people that are there do with large volume of cash. They don't really believe much in transaction, and the banks they deal with, they also know that these are big-time customers that come to deposit each amount of cash. So this group of people will be affected, even though we are targeting the bandits and kidnappers and some politicians.
President Muhammadu Buhari has transmitted to the House of Representatives the proposed budget of the Federal Capital Territory for 2023. It also adopted the report of its Committee on Telecommunications on the budget of the Nigerian Communications Commission for 2023. Deputy Speaker of the House, Ahmed Wase, who presided over the plenary on Tuesday, read out Buhari's cover letter on the appropriation bill to members. Also, in another report represented, titled Report of the Committee on Telecommunications on the issue from the Statutory Revenue Fund of the Nigerian Communications Commission, the total sum of 553.72 billion naira only, of which the sum of 72.13 billion naira only is for recurrent expenditure, while 4.06 billion naira only is for capital expenditure. The Anambra State House of Assembly has passed the 2023 budget of 259.9 billion naira. The bill was passed on Tuesday following the adoption of the report of the House Committee on Finance and Appropriation during plenary. The Deputy Chairman of the committee, Mr. Nonso Okafor, during the passage, said the capital expenditure was increased from the initial 164.2 billion naira to 164.4 billion naira based on the needs of the ministries, departments and agencies, representing 63.2% of the budget. Okafor said the recurrent expenditure was 95.4 billion naira, representing 36.8%. The Speaker, Uchenna Okafor, commended the committee for thorough scrutiny of the budget while presiding over a voice vote for the adoption of the report. He also announced that the House would hold a valedictory session for its late majority leader, Dr. Nnamdi Okafor, who died on August 24 in South Africa. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has said that its production value has recorded a 9% increase to 3.99 trillion naira in the first half of 2022. The executive summary of half-year 2022 economic review report of the association made available to newsmen on Friday showed that the manufacturing sector factory output value increased to 3.99 trillion naira in the first half of 2022 year-on-year, up from 3.66 trillion naira recorded in the same half in 2021, thus indicating a 0.33 trillion naira rise during the period. The report explained that production was majorly limited by a lack of forex for the importation of raw materials that are not available in the country in all the sectoral groups, except for the food subsector, which has undergone a significant level of backward integration. The country's manufacturing sector also grew by 0.8% in the first quarter of the year. However, the down risks in the manufacturing sector remain the disruption of global supply and increasing commodity prices, which were offshoots of the Russian-Ukraine war. The International Energy Agency, IEA, said in its 2022 renewables report that Nigeria's renewable energy growth would be 1 gigawatt by 2027. According to the report, Nigeria would add 1 gigawatt of renewable capacity between 2022 and 2027, less than the expected growth in South Africa, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Angola, and Kenya. The report also noted that Nigeria currently lacks enabling policies for large-scale renewables, and the situation hinders the extensive development of renewable energy. This challenge also hampers energy access when placed side by side with constant power outages caused by aging infrastructure. The IEA report noted that on a global level, renewable energy will account for over 90% of global electricity capacity expansion, noting that capacity expansion in the next 5 years will be much faster than what was expected just a year ago. The United Nations, through its Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, in partnership with the federal government, has selected 13 states for intervention concerning the production of a few crops such as rice, soybean, and dairy. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mahmoud Abubakar, disclosed this in his speech at the official inauguration of the National Steering Committee on the FAO Hand-in-Hand Initiative in Nigeria. In the speech, which was made available to newsmen on Tuesday, he said the selection of states for the intervention was based on their potential for import substitution, export promotion, comparative advantage, social inclusion, and demand gap on the national, continental, and global scale. Abubakar said, and I quote, "The hand-in-hand initiative takes cognizance of the country's economically advantaged and disadvantaged areas in selecting the priority commodities for intervention in selected states," end of quote.